50 years of Mars goodness.
Not just because of Mars.
1929.
Well, the Mars family first began making candy more than
Americans
100
bought
years
more
ago.
than $20 billion worth of chocolate candy last year.
From iconic names like Snickers, M&M's, Milky Way, Orbit, Mars, and Twix to the beloved Ben's Original Rice brand and more, Mars Incorporated has carved an indelible imprint on the hearts and palates of millions around the world. With yearly sales of more than $45 billion, Mars was listed as the fourth largest privately held U.S. company by Forbes in 2022, surpassing even Coca-Cola. Now, join us as we take you on a captivating journey through the remarkable history of Mars. Tracing its humble beginnings from a dependent on a wheelchair child who learned how to make chocolate candies by hand from his mother to the rise of a legendary confectionery empire. Get ready to indulge in the extraordinary story of Mars, where passion, innovation, and irresistible treats collide. On September 24, 1883, Franklin Clarence Mars was born in Glenwood, Minnesota, sometimes known as Frank Mars. Regarding his father, not much is known. The only thing we know about him is that he operated a grist mill in Pennsylvania. His mother's name was Elva. She taught Frank Mars a lot. It was her that led him on how to make sweets. Frank had to stick to a wheelchair since he had polio as a child. By letting him hand-dip chocolates, Frank's mother kept him occupied while she made confectionery. The art of making confectionery has been a part of his personality since childhood. At the young age of 19, Frank Mars embarked on a challenging and transformative journey. Mars started his own candy business, making and selling buttercream candy from his kitchen to the local stores. It was his first candy, and the first sales happened in 1902. That same year, he married Ethel Kissick, a schoolteacher. Frank Mars faced challenges in the early years of his candy business. His first child, Forrest Mars, was born in 1904, during a time when the candy industry was becoming competitive. The introduction of Hershey's bar brought about changes in the market, leading to the emergence of various candy-making companies and heightened competition. Frank Mars, still in his early 20s and lacking experience in the business, found it difficult to keep his small enterprise afloat, particularly in Minneapolis. The intense competition took a toll on his business, and his family faced financial struggles. Despite working hard as a chip salesman in Wadena to support his family, he was unable to overcome the difficulties. In search of new opportunities, Frank Mars relocated his family to Tacoma, Washington, hoping for a fresh start. However, fate had different plans and their struggles persisted, ultimately resulting in the end of his marriage. In 1910, Ethel filed for divorce. In the same year of his divorce, in 1910, Frank Mars married Ethel V. Mars. Yes, another Ethel as a wife. What a coincidence. Even after experiencing so much heartbreak and disappointment, he was still able to find the energy to start his long-desired confectionery company. In 1911, he and his second wife Ethel Mars founded the Mars Candy Factory in Tacoma, Washington. This factory created and distributed fresh candies wholesale, but the effort failed because Brown and Haley, a more reputable company, was already present in Tacoma. In 1920, Frank Mars and his second wife moved back to Minnesota, where Frank started a candy business called the Nougat House, with a line of handmade Patricia candies named for his daughter. He was working quite hard, as was his wife. Frank Mars used to get to work making the candies as early as 3 in the morning, with his wife handling the sales. His next big product, the Marrow Bar, a whipped cream-style chocolate bar, was introduced in 1920, well-timed with America's emerging post-war candy bar obsession. It did well enough to give Frank his first firm footing in the industry, and he launched the Morrow Bar Company in Minneapolis to produce it, hiring a young, skilled Italian-American candy maker named Thomas Tatalo as his very first full-time employee. The Morrow Bar never came close to the sales numbers of Hershey or Curtis's Baby Ruth, but it sent Frank Mars on a new path. At the age of 40, he'd become a source of inspiration rather than a disappointment. This set the stage for the most important meeting in Mars Company history, as a father and his estranged son put aside their differences to hatch a billion-dollar idea. Forrest Mars, the first child, was sent to Canada to live with his grandparents following his parents' divorce by the decision of his mother. Forrest Mars's fears and negative attitudes about his father were greatly influenced by his absence throughout those years for a variety of reasons. Frank Mars sent an invitation to his son in 1922. At the time, he was 18 years old and a University of California, Berkeley student. Forrest received a request from his father to participate in the family business. Observing that they hadn't seen each other in years before the meeting, his father wanted to talk about how it was just beginning. Because of all the tension that had been accumulating over the years, the meeting must have been awkward in some way. Nobody is certain what happened, but it became legendary. Why? Because it ended with the idea of creating candy's Milky Way. Dad and son talked about the family business at a Minneapolis diner and drank some milkshakes. Frank discussed the highs and lows of the Morrow Bar, remarked that it tasted wonderful, but that transportation was rather challenging. Forrest Mars then suggested, "Why don't you make a candy bar version of a malted milk drink?" This conversation was the turning point in the history of Mars Inc. Frank Mars frequently included nougat in his candies. Later on, though, he decided to combine it with chocolate, and he added caramel on top. With a strike of cosmic inspiration, the Milky Way was born. In 1923, the candy was first produced, marking a turning point for the company. The new chocolate malted milk bar helped boost annual sales from under $100,000 to $733,000 annually, leading the business to bring on a full-time sales team. Frank Mars made his way to Chicago in 1929, making Illinois' River Forest his permanent home. Frank owned a candy company in addition to purchasing a few nearby farms under the name Milky Way Farm. He unveiled his second candy bar in 1930, which propelled his business to enormous renown and success. This was the Snickers bar. He gave the candy the name Snickers in honor of his favorite horse. He was a huge horse lover. The only real difference in the recipe was the addition of peanuts to the Milky Way formula, yet this was enough to set Snickers apart and eventually make it one of the most popular candies ever. It's no secret that father and son had a pretty tenuous relationship. There was no way they could work together in a peaceful environment. Forrest demanded to be the owner of a third of the company Mars Incorporated. However, Frank did not like this idea. After some arguments, his father gave him $50,000 plus the foreign rights to Milky Way. As a result of all this, Forrest Mars moved to the UK, where he learned how to make European-style candies. Forrest modified the Milky Way formula and added sweetness. This candy was his creation, and he called it the Mars Bar. The Mars Bar was introduced in the UK in 1932. That made him independent, and it was the beginning of his business career. Tragically, Franklin Mars passed away on April 8, 1934, at the age of 50. After his death, his second wife, Ethel, took over the process. After Ethel, it was Franklin's half-brother who came out on top. But when the company was not in good shape anymore, Forrest Mars took over. Because of him, Mars became much more than just a candy company. It was Forrest who hatched the idea for Uncle Ben's rice. It was Forrest who revolutionized packaged pet food in an era where most families still fed their cats and dogs table scraps. In 1940, Forrest Mars created M&M's candy by going into business with Bruce Murray, son of the Hershey Company president. Inspired by seeing soldiers during the Spanish Civil War eating chocolate-covered pellets that had a hard shell to prevent melting, Forrest Mars saw the potential for a new type of candy. They created the candy, which had a hard shell coating and milky chocolate inside, and named it M&Ms, short for Mars and Murray. Peanut M&Ms were introduced in 1954, the same year the famous slogan, "The milk chocolate melts in your mouth, not in your hand," was first used. In 1973, Forrest Mars retired from Mars Inc. and died in 1999 at the age of 96. The company went to his children. He did not have an easy life. Felt like he was always trying to outdo his father. In 1984, Mars moved its corporate headquarters to McLean, Virginia. The Mars family is still owner of the company. The business is renowned for its secrecy. According to the Wall Street Journal, the corporate competition between Mars and Hershey reversed itself in 1991, when Mars increased their share of the overall candy market from 16.7% to 17.9%, while Hershey's market share stayed constant at 17%. Mars had great success in 1990 when it introduced peanut butter M&Ms, which hurt Hershey's Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, which were ranked second. In 1991, Mars introduced 12 new goods, among them the Dove Dark Chocolate Candy Bar, Mint and Almond M&Ms, Milky Way Dark, and Peanut Butter Snickers. The acquisition of Doan Pet Care Company by Mars in June 2007 greatly improved Mars' standing in the dry pet food market in the United States. In 2008, Mars conducted a research study that resurrected the famous Mars slogan, "Work, Rest, and Play." Packaged and led the global launch of the Mars Refuel sports drink, initiated and implemented sponsorship program, the Mars Refuel Drink Fund. Mars Inc. and Berkshire Hathaway announced on April 28, 2008, that they would be purchasing Wrigley Jr. Company, the largest chewing gum manufacturer in the world, for $23 billion in cash. Together, the two businesses brought in more than $30 billion in revenue in 2008. In 2014, Mars opened a new $270 million chocolate plant in Topeka, Kansas, the first new Mars plant in the U.S. in 35 years. Today, Mars Incorporated is a multinational company renowned for its vast and diverse product lines. With a rich portfolio spanning multiple industries, Mars offers an extensive array of consumer goods that cater to a wide range of preferences and needs. Mars Chocolate Confectionery. One of the standout categories within Mars' product line is chocolate confectionery. Mars Incorporated is the proud creator of some of the world's most beloved chocolate brands, including Mars, Snickers, Milky Way, Twix, M&Ms, Dove, and Three Musketeers. Each brand offers its unique flavor profiles, textures, and formats, ranging from classic chocolate bars to bite-sized candies and indulgent treats. The Wrigley Company. In addition to their delectable chocolates, Mars Incorporated also excels in the gum and mint category through its subsidiary, the Wrigley Company. With iconic brands such as Extra, Orbit, Juicy Fruit, Altoids, and Lifesavers, Mars provides consumers with a plethora of chewing gum and mint options. Whether it's the long-lasting freshness of Extra, the fruity burst of Juicy Fruit, or the bold flavors of Altoids, Mars gum and mint offerings ensure breath-freshening and a satisfying chew experience. Pet Care Product Line. Mars Incorporated is equally dedicated to the well-being of our furry friends, as evidenced by their extensive pet care product line. With renowned brands like Pedigree, Whiskas, Royal Canin, Iams, Nutro, and Greenies, Mars provides a comprehensive range of pet food and care products. From nutritious and balanced meals to dental care treats, Mars Pet Care offerings cater to the unique dietary and health needs of dogs, cats, and other pets, ensuring their overall well-being. Food and drink product line. Mars Incorporated also has a presence in the food and beverage industry. They offer a range of food products, including Uncle Ben's Rice, Seed of Change organic food products, and Tasty Bite ready-to-eat meals. Additionally, they have a stake in the drinks industry through their ownership of the VCA, Vino, Cerveza, Aguas Frescas portfolio, which include wines, beers, and non-alcoholic beverages. It's still a mystery how Frank Mars found the strength to get through the hardships and setbacks he had during his life. Failure appeared to cruelly follow him, from his early struggle with polio to the countless failures and missteps he made along the way. However, he was able to get beyond those barriers in his way through pure determination. As a result, Frank Mars not only achieved what he had always desired, but also left an enduring legacy for future generations and gained recognition worldwide. Under the leadership of his sons, Mars Incorporated became a global confectionery and food company. Today, Mars was ranked as the fourth largest privately held company in the United States, with annual sales of almost $45 billion and employing 140,000 people in over 80 countries. So, there you have it. The story of Mars Inc. With its unwavering commitment to excellence and innovation, Mars Incorporated remains a powerhouse and a leader in its field. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a like, leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more fascinating stories like this one. Until next time, thank you for watching.